leave a mark, right? It's not severe hitting will leave a mark. You don't break bones, you don't do any of these things, right? You don't hit the face. So it's not really hitting.
What kind of hitting is that? What am I supposed to do?
So that's why I'm saying, and we see the companions, how did they understand? We see Ibn Abbas explaining the verse, narrating, saying he's asked, what is darban ghayra mubarah? What is unsevere hitting? He says, bisuwak. Just like a pen, you're hitting with a pen or something. He says, bisiwaki wa nahwahu. So he gives us the explanation. The daraba here, which can mean physical contact between two objects, is in the lowest point. Cannot go more than that. In fact, in a narration in Sahih Abu Dawud, the Prophet ﷺ, he said explicitly, لا تضربوا إماء Allah, do not hit the women servants of Allah. He gave a direct command that you shouldn't hit the women servants of Allah. But then some of the companions, they said they are being disobedient to us. They're not listening to us. So the Prophet permitted them to do that hitting which is unsevere, which is with all the conditions we mentioned. But a more important point to add up as well about hitting and not hitting. Okay, coming back now, they made me lose the point in my mind. So the Prophet ﷺ, he commanded us to do that. He commanded us, the default position is you don't hit, because there is a hadith commanding you to do that. Why is the hitting legislated anyways? You read the next verse. What does the next verse says? 435. Allah Azza wa Jal, he says, وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنِهِمَا فَابْعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِّنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا. If you fear separation between both of them. So Allah Azza wa Jal is saying the last step, which is this step of the physical contact, is a sign that nothing is working anymore. I've advised you, I've forsaken your bed for as long as I see it's not working. Forsaking your bed is the same. For as long as you know it's not working anymore, right? It came to me using some physical contact between you to show you the level that I tried everything. I've done everything in my power. So Allah Azza wa Jal, he says in the next, so this physical contact is a sign that nothing is working anymore. Okay. That's why Allah is legislated this, right? Then Allah Azza wa Jal, he says, bring one judge from her family, yes, and bring one judge from his family, yes, and let's see if they want reconciliation. Okay. If they want reconciliation, Allah will bring their hearts together. If they don't want, they can go separate ways. So that is the proper explanation of the verse, right? So the verse is not properly understood by many people. And as we said, the word daraba, keep that in your mind. The word daraba can mean multiple things. Like Allah says, daraba Allahu mathalan. Allah put forth an example. Allah says, فَإِذَا ضَرَبْتُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ, when you travel. He uses the word daraba as well, which means to travel. So the word daraba does not necessarily mean hitting, and it can mean physical contact between two objects, and it can vary from different levels, and it can also mean metaphorical.
Okay, interesting point here. Yeah? So because you mentioned before that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about, and this is very interesting, Allah also talks about how a woman should deal with a rebellious husband. So there is a similar verse. Well, now in this situation, it's the husband that's bad, not the woman. Now, somebody can come and say, well, hold on a second, then why doesn't the woman have the same procedure? Talk first, move from the bed, and then use some kind of a force. Now, if we think about this, guys, if Allah was to say to a woman, advise him first, if he doesn't listen, move away from the bed, if not, use force. Now, what force is your wife? Is your wife in an advantage position where she's going to come, imagine like my wife, coming to me and trying to like, hey, let me tell him off. She's not in an advantageous position, right? So that's the reason why Allah didn't give the same procedure to the woman, because physically he's stronger. You get what I'm trying to say? So that's why if anybody asks,
no, I mean, he's probably stronger than me, but
no. So the thing is, in this instance, that's the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't give the same procedure, prescription to the woman, because it's not going to be the same. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And yeah, I hope that answers.
And Allah Azza wa Jal is, I told you, is chapter 4, 128, yeah? And if a woman fears from her husband contempt or evasion, which is nushuz, the same word, right? Yeah. There is no sin upon them if they make terms of settlement, and settlement is best, right? So Allah Azza wa Jal is saying settlement. Settlement here is the khul'a that we're talking about, which is the agreement between the husband and the wife that we're going to be separated. I'm going to give you this amount back, for example, or part of your mahr back, and we will be separated. If there is abuse, you can go to the judge and he can force him to separate between both of them. So Allah has given different choices to the man and to the woman. Make clear what?
Like the meher, that if you're on the right, you're entitled to your meher, and if you're on the wrong,
No, but if the intimacy happens, if I'm not mistaken, you can't, the mahr...
It's not it's not as easy as that. No, it depends on the case and depends on the situation. It's not as easy as if you're in the right or in the wrong, bro. It's a different story, right? There is more to it. You have to bring it case by case. By the way, let me just say this point. Marriage and divorce is one of the things that you shouldn't speak about without knowledge.
Yes.
It's why there's children involved,
yes.
There is women and men involved and families involved and houses involved.
Yes.
It's not a small issue. There was companions and tabi'een, and one of them only used to give fatwas about divorce and marriage. There was tons of them, and they know more than we would ever know. But they did not speak about it out of fear of the consequences of making a decision regarding these issues. So it's a case by case. It's a case by case situation. But I want to mention something very important that you mentioned about the mahr. The issue in our societies today, why a lot of young men and women are resulting to do haram, is because of the issue of mahr. We're making the mahr 10,000 billion pounds. You have to bring 2 Mercedes, 10 Ferraris to get married, right? And this was not the way of the Prophet ﷺ. This was not the way of the companions, and this is not what Islam teaches you to do, right? Yeah. So there is an agreement between the husband and the wife about the mahr, but we look at the situation of the husband. Like if the guy is Bill Gates, okay, ask for millions, okay, that's fine. But if a guy doesn't have money, look at his situation as a father. If he's coming to propose to your daughter, look at his situation.
No, who's the mahr?
Look at his.
I know maybe it's a difference opinion. Who's the right of the mahr? Is it woman's or the husband, the father?
Usually, it is the right of the woman. But I'm saying, who speaks to the husband is the father.
Yes.
So usually the father is the one who says we want this, we want that.
The daughter what she
but
wants.
they usually don't. Do you know that?
They should.
They usually don't.
Yeah,
That's another big problem. They usually don't.
Yeah.
They usually decide for themselves.
Yeah.
As the wali, they say, I know what's best for my daughter.
Yeah.
And then he asks, because the point is that the wali is the one who's going to speak with the husband, right?
Yeah.
He's going to present the terms. You're saying what you're saying correctly. He should agree with the girl first on the amount that she wants. He has to, of course.
Otherwise, what they used to do is they used to sell like their daughters as like cattle or something, like, oh, I want this one, this much money, and they didn't even ask for the permission.
They're selling their daughters,
yeah, like in that context. That's why the mahr is her right. But even nikah,
yeah, but I'm saying that you see the problem is this. The main problem you want to focus on, which is a lot in the community, is this, is that they're asking for a lot, right?
Yes.
They're asking for a lot, and not only that. By the way, the father, some girls are also asking for a lot, right?
That's their right. Yeah, I'm happy to differ with you.
That's the right. I agree with you.
Look, they might not get married. They can ask for a million pounds. They might get married.
Do you agree? Do you agree with me? Even is the right. If they want to marry someone, they should also look at the guy's situation.
Okay,
like
they can.
If my situation is bad and the woman wants to marry you.
But I'll tell you about the situation with my wife. Yeah. Okay, my wife gave me.
It's personal stuff now.
It's a very important matter. It's a reality, and not only that.
Yes, go ahead.
With my situation, I'm not going to go into details. But what I'm saying is, my wife gave me an installment plan. Yeah, she said, for example, no, that's a hug. She said, and if you can't, I forgive you.
Yeah, that's good.
So the thing is, like, you know what I'm saying? That's her right. And what she asked for, I said, look, at the end of the day, if I'm happy with you, etc., fine. And she said, look, you can pay me in installments. That's a hug. And she said, if you can't, I forgive you. Sure. So the point is this: it's at your discretion. But if you're going to ask for some, I don't know, 20 grand, you're not going to get married. So it's up to you. So
the point we're trying to make is, I agree with you completely. It's her right, right? They have to agree with each other. Yeah. But I'm saying a more essential point. I'm saying, because you see the problems in society, it becomes a necessary thing for us to think about lowering the mahr as well. Okay. When you see this, the darura comes there. Maybe they're missing the point I'm saying. Okay. The point is, you see a lot of young girls and boys committing zina. Why? Because marriage is hard. So if we keep encouraging this idea, that's what I'm trying to say, that you have to ask for a lot, you ask for, then we're causing more problems, right? So they will have to resort to the haram, because the halal door is very restricted
but
for
Mohammed,
them.
have you seen it from this perspective, yeah?
But what you're saying is correct as well. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Another perspective, which I observe. I'm going to be talking about a marriage documentary, guys. I know it's a bit late, but this is very important.
A bit late, yeah?
7 years late,
okay.
Inshallah.
I don't know how long it is,
but this is a very important matter, and I specifically tell sisters to ask for, like, don't take it as hujjah, good amount. Look, I believe around £3,000 to £4,000 is reasonable. Why? Because
that's reasonable.
Let me tell you why.
I agree.
Because there are men out there who want to take advantage, and this is very important, because here Islam gives right to protect you from men who are going to use you. Okay. Because if you go and say, okay, but like, you know, some sisters get a piety attack, no, just read Quran for me, what happens is the following, if the guy has bad intentions, your wali is your guardian. He's not really in the picture. In his head, he's thinking, what have I got to lose? What do you want? £100 ring? No problem. When your mahar is high, if he's got the wrong intentions, he's thinking, bro, £3,000, and my intention is only intimacy, and I want to leave next week. Forget that. So your mahar actually protects you in that instance. But what you're saying is, don't go to
I'm agreeing with you. Do you know why?
Yeah.
Because I don't think, I'm not talking about 3,000 or 5,000. I believe that's a reasonable amount.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the exaggerations that take place,
50
right?
grand and
and a car and that's the beginning. You're gonna pay more later on as well. The point is, I'm talking about the exaggeration, right? 3 to 5, we can do it. Like if a man works, he can provide. I think anyone in this society can do this.
Yes.
So that's a reasonable amount. So I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about is the exaggeration, right? So on that point, I'm saying that the parents, the wali, and the girls have to try to look at the situation as well. Because in the end, I'll tell you this, right? Some girls, right, they ask for a lot of money, and they end up not getting married in the end, right? Then when they're old, they have to resolve to marry anyone, whoever is in front of them, because now you're 30 or 40, you're not going to find someone in his 20s or he wants to get married to you, right? So sometimes when we look at the situation, because it always comes back to the urf, the culture, the society. How is the society? And we give the commandments based on how the society is. Do you get the point?
Yes.
So what you're saying is completely correct. So look at which country you are. Look at the situation of the husband that is coming. Do not make a lot of exaggeration, but also take your right, as he's saying. And that's the balanced view that we want to take forward. But when we look at the times of, why am I saying look at the situation? Prophet ﷺ, when the companion came to him, and he said to him, I don't have anything. He says to him, التمس ولو خاتما من حديد. He says to him, a cloth. He said, I don't have. He says, even a ring from silver. He says, I don't have. He says to him, anything. He said, I don't have. He said, you memorize Quran, then teach her Quran. He looked at his situation. He saw he has nothing, and he needs to get married. He has some desires he needs to fulfill. So the Prophet ﷺ, based on his situation, he said to him, marry her with the Quran as a mahr. So we have to also look at the situation of the individual that is coming. Not all people are equal, right? Not all people have the same amount of money, but we're not saying waive your rights as a wife. But the most important thing is to look for a pious, righteous man anyways. If you do, he's not going to abuse you. Do you get the point? The right thing is to think for a righteous, pious person to begin with. That's what you look for.
The Prophet said, with good character as well, manners. Because there is a lot of brothers, let me tell you, they're wearing the piece, they look the part, trust me, they've got miswak, they've got 3 miswaks in his mouth. Not one, he's got 3, he's got Quran on his belt. I'm telling you, and even the Prophet ﷺ would warn, some of them, like this man, his stick is heavy, like he'll beat you up basically. The point is this, don't think religious outfit, it's supposed to even the sisters, niqab, hijab, don't think just because somebody talks the talk or looks the part, they're religious. Look at the adab, the akhlaq. Wallahi, I'm telling you, you would marry someone who's praying tahajjud at night, Quran, everything, and he's an oppressor to you. So be very careful to that.
I'll tell you something, I want to just mention a small point, because there's a question. There's just a small point. Adab and akhlaq, manners, are not separated from deen.
Yes.
Because some people separate manners from deen.
Exactly.
We don't say, if you say someone is praying and doing worship, he does not have the full deen. Manners are a part of the religion. Like haya, the Prophet ﷺ, he says, al-haya'u min al-iman. Haya is from your iman, is from your faith. That would mean that manners are also a part of your creed, of your aqidah, of your deen. It's not just the worship part, but the manners part is a part of your religion.
It's fundamental.
So if you say someone, so if you say someone has a religion, that has to include manners.
Exactly.
So when I say a religion, I mean also includes manners.
Exactly.
Because manners is part of religion. They're not separated.
Said, I came for nothing but to perfect good character. And this is fundamental. Just end on this note, and you guys can ask questions, Why did, look, a lot of the people who accepted Islam, do you think the Prophet ﷺ showed them miracles? It was his character. He was so truthful. His manners were so amazing. When he came and said, I'm the Prophet of Allah, they said, we have no choice but to believe you because of your adab, your character of who you are. That is so profound. Wallahi, if you think about it, him alone was the evidence. And Allah chose him because of his adab, his truthfulness. His own enemies would give their belongings for him to look after. Look what that says. So let people see Islam in you rather than you repeating yourself, I know this verse or that verse. But anyways, if there's any questions, anybody wants to ask about women's rights, men's rights,
ask him.
Rights, no problem.
Or anything.
Anything.
You mentioned about the tahajjud, someone praying and becoming a Christian. Salah changes the character of a person. So why would a person that prays tahajjud be an oppressor? I don't understand.
Okay, so you see, this is where I heard of a hadith, I don't know how true it is, I want to be careful, I will double check it. This is what I heard, but I'm going to double check inshallah, is that, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the Prophet ﷺ said,
can give you a hadith on the issue if you want.
Oh, please, maybe that might be one.
The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he asked his companions that تدرون من المفلس. Do you know who's the bankrupt?
Yeah.
Right? Then the companions, they said, Allah wa Rasuluhu a'lam. The Prophet and his Allah and the Prophet, they know best, right? So the Prophet ﷺ started describing someone who prays tahajjud, who does adhkar, who does all of these things, who does all of the actions that we're talking about. Then he says that he stole money from this person, he backbited this person, he done an evil deed to this person. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, that's the bankrupt. The bankrupt is not the person who doesn't have money. The bankrupt is the person who's having mountains of deeds that he wasted with his bad manners and the bad things that he's doing as well, right? So I don't know if that's the hadith you're looking for or another hadith.
But the thing is, when we're looking at someone praying salah, the salah is the right of Allah. You can be, let me tell you something, you can be a mass murderer. Like in the morning, you're stabbing 10 people a day, bang, 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 yeah? You have to pray salah. The salah is the right of Allah. It's got nothing to do, like obviously the salah, Allah says it will keep you away from like evil deeds, etc. But the point is this, don't look at someone's salah and tahajjud and think that this person is an amazing person. He might not be. He should be. Maybe sometimes, maybe he's praying, maybe there's no khushu', whatever it may be. But don't look at his salah and say, oh, he must be a really good person. No, he might be a zalim. One of the words. You know what I'm trying to say?
The Prophet ﷺ, he spoke about the Khawarij,
Yeah,
you know what the Khawarij are?
yeah.
And he said to the companions, including Abu Bakr and Umar, right? Best people in this ummah, right? And he said to them, تَحْقِرُونَ صَلَاتَكُمْ لِصَلَاتِهِمْ, that you will feel your prayer is nothing when you look at their prayer. You look at the Khawarij, he says you look at their recitation, قِرَاءَتَكُمْ, you will look at your recitation and your Quran, you will say this is so low when you look at them. But he said that it does not really settle in their hearts. The actions are outward, they're not inward, right? It has to be the balance between the two. The faith in the heart and the actions outwardly as well. Because we do not know the intention of the person doing the actions. We know that the actions are there. And there is the hadith as well. This is a very, very strong hadith, right? Prophet ﷺ, the companions, they came praising one of the other companions who was fighting, and he was destroying enemies and killing, and they were praising him for the Prophet. Prophet ﷺ, he said he's from the people of the fire. They were shocked. The guy is in jihad, and he's doing all of this. The Prophet is saying he's in hellfire. Then one of the companions says, by Allah, I would not stop until I follow him and I see why the Prophet said that. So he followed that companion. The companion was in the battlefield. Then he was stabbed, or he was cut. He was injured. Then he felt so much pain, so he killed himself. So that companion came to the Prophet ﷺ and he says, I testify you are the messenger of Allah. Because we were praising him. We see from outwardly he's doing all these good deeds, right? But from inside, Allah knew and informed the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that he wasn't like you thought he was. Then the Prophet started saying that you see a person outwardly, right, doing the deeds of the people of paradise. Then he starts doing the people of hellfire, he dies and he goes to the fire. And then he said you will see
arm length between him and Jannah.
Yes. Then he says you will see the person doing the work of hellfire. You think that's an evil person, a bad person. At the end of his life, he will start doing the work of the people of paradise. He will enter paradise. But he says, key thing is, he says, فِيمَا يَظْهَرُ لِلنَّاسِ أو فِيمَا يُرَى لِلنَّاسِ, in what is apparent for the people. So that's what we see. But we don't see inside. Only Allah Azza wa Jal knows. So if you see, starting by myself, if you see anyone you think he's a good, righteous person doing this, that doesn't mean anything. Look at what he's saying. Is what he's saying according to what Allah and His Messenger are saying, or is he just his opinions and what he thinks? Balance it this way. Individuals, the religion is not known by individuals. Individuals are known by the religion. Meaning that we know this is a good person because he's following the Islam. We don't know Islam is good because this guy is good, right? So make that balance in your life, inshallah.
Any questions, guys? Yes.
I had a private question for him, and then all of this started anyways.
We planned and Allah planned, and
alhamdulillah.
It's a different question.
Yes. Don't worry. Yes.
You see the hadith, I think it's in Sahih al-Bukhari, where it talks about you should support your brother.
انصر أخاك ظالما أو مظلوما. Which one?
Yeah,
support your brother whether he's oppressed or he's the oppressor?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
And then one of the companions said to the Rasulullah, how do I support my brother when he's oppressing? He said by holding him back.
Yes.
I just want to clarify something. How is that supporting your brother when you're holding him back physically? You're physically showing him that you're against his oppression. But it says in the hadith you're supporting him.
No, stop his oppression. No, you can answer. Not stop him physically, stop his oppression.
It can, yes. Stop him can include three things, as we know. Prophet ﷺ, he said, من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه. If you see something wrong, either you change it with your hand if you're able, If you can, then with your tongue, with your speech. If you can't, then you hate it in your heart, and that's the weakest of iman, right? So, how are you aiding him or supporting your brother? You're supporting his afterlife. That's we don't care about this life. This life is not the thing. You're saving his afterlife. You're saving him from doing the evil thing, from the punishment that he will see in the afterlife.
That's what I was clarifying.
Yes.
After I was
But also you're stopping him. Like imagine let's say I'm oppressing you.
Yeah.
I come and I rob your money every day. He comes and says, "Ya Aki."
Yes.
Yeah. What are you doing? And he advises me. He's stopping me from oppressing you, and he's saving my hereafter. So do you get it? He's helping me stop the oppression by stopping me from hurting you and hurting myself in the hereafter.
But doesn't he still have the intention of oppressing?
No, but the thing is, even if I have the intention of robbing you again today, he stopped me and said, "Ya Aki, in the hereafter,
Are we judged for our actions or our intentions?
Actually.
Even if he has if you have the intention to, you know what, do something evil in this whole, I don't want to give examples, yeah? Because we know people will misuse this, yeah? So we say someone is doing something horrible here. You have the worst intention, but you didn't do it. Will Allah punish you? Okay, Prophet ﷺ, he told us that Allah, He forgave us what we think in our heads, the things that you think in your mind, right? As long as you didn't say or do, right? So Allah Azza wa Jalla, even if He has the intention to oppress, but you stopped Him from the action, and what He will be punished for is the action, not the intent.
So he might be rewarded, because there's a hadith of the Prophet peace be upon him who said that if I intend to hit you and I don't, I get a good reward. I get one reward.
Yes.
Because I intend to, but I didn't carry the action out. So I get a reward.
Because I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's a good question.
Any more questions?
Anyone wants to become Muslim?
Yeah, let me
Yeah.
So
Come here.
I find it hard to
He's
believe.
behind the.
It's okay. It's okay.
We need to hear you, so because people want to know your. Just
Okay.
repeat.
So
You want to
can
come this side or you
No,
want
no,
to
no. I'm okay.
Up to you, yes.
So can you explain for me what must a person do now besides believing in the one God? Because the main theme here seems to be between Christianity and Islam is one's believing in three God, one believing in one God. Beside that, what must an individual do to enter into paradise? That's the first thing. The second thing is this, because I've heard from many Muslims here now that you can live a wicked life as long as you're Muslim. You're going to burn, let's say you burn 10 million years, but after that you go to paradise. For me that seems unjust. It doesn't seem right. So can you just tell me what you believe on that?
Sure. Can you come a
answer?
little bit closer, because I believe he's going to answer and you're going to answer
He
more
can
questions.
answer as well,
It's
like
going to
that.
turn into dialogue. If
You can come in the middle if you want. Yeah.
Sorry. Please.
Okay, so first I want to ask you if that's possible. What do you believe yourself? I will answer your questions. I promise you I will.
Afterwards, rather, please,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Okay. So the first question you said is, what should you do to enter paradise? Correct.
That's the most important question.
First point. Okay.
Yeah.
So Muslims believe the entering paradise is a very simple thing. It's a very easy thing. Right? It's not a hard thing to do. What you have to do is simply to believe in Allah. We're not saying believe in one creator.
Okay.
Because Allah is not just any one creator, yeah?
Right.
Allah is a specific one creator with attributes and with names that befit His Majesty, right?
Okay.
So when we say one creator, a Jew can tell you, I believe in one creator, right?
Right.
But his creator is not Allah, right?
Okay.
He believes in certain things that we don't believe, right? A Christian tell you, I believe in one God, but he means three in one, right?
Okay.
So one is not the thing you need to believe in. Allah is what you need to believe in.
Okay.
First point, yeah?
Yeah.
Second point is you have to follow the prophet that is assigned to you. Meaning, if you lived at the time of Jesus,
Yeah.
you follow Jesus. If you lived at the time of Moses, you follow Moses. If you lived at the time of Abraham, you follow Abraham. What does it mean follow? It means you obey him in what he commands you to do. You stop what he prohibits you from doing.
Right.
As much as you can.
Okay.
Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ.
Okay.
Fear Allah, or do the actions as much as you can.
Okay.
And Allah says in the end of chapter 2, Allah does not overburden a soul except what it can handle. Meaning Allah doesn't put a burden on you that you cannot handle.
Okay.
Only what you can do. When He created you, He knew that you will make mistakes.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that if I make a mistake, I don't continue. I stop.
Right.
I repent. I have no intention of coming back, and I regret. Right? So it's as simple as what? Believing in what? In Allah,
Yeah.
with His names and attributes that befit His Majesty, following the messenger of your time. Simple as that. That's it.
Can I just add on?
You ascertain Allah's, yes, of course. You ascertain Allah's mercy because we don't believe you enter with your deeds. But we believe, that's what you wanted to say?
That's what I was
Okay, no problem.
You don't enter with
Let me
your-
clarify that. Let me
Okay.
clarify that. A deed is one of the criterias,
Yes.
but it's not the reason you enter. Meaning, if I say, I'm hiring a secretary,
Yeah.
and I want a woman secretary, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean any woman that will come, I will hire her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The reason I will hire a woman is because she will have a qualification in the field that I want to hire her
Yes,
in.
yeah.
But a condition I'm putting is that she has to be a woman.
Okay.
A condition for someone to be in paradise, he has to be righteous. And righteousness is believing in Allah and following His command. But the condition is not the reason you enter. The reason you enter is Allah's mercy. Does that make sense?
Okay, that makes sense.
It's a very unique point.
Can I give you an example?
Okay, yeah.
There's a hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him. A man came on the day of judgment, and God Almighty said to him, enter paradise by my mercy.
Okay.
So the man said, oh Allah, I want to enter paradise with my good deeds.
Right.
So God was going to
Let him in.
based on God's mercy,
Yeah.
not his deeds.
Yes.
His deeds played a role, of course.
Yeah.
But the man said, oh God, I want to go because I've been your worshipper and I've done a lot of good deeds.
Yeah.
So God said, okay, if you want to enter by your good deeds, we have to be just. So my justice comes into play. So God is the most just. So he got the, what's it called?
The balance.
Scale.
Scales,
Yeah,
yeah?
yeah.
He placed all his good deeds that he did for hundreds of years on
Yeah.
one side.
Yeah.
And he took his eye and put it on the other side.
Yeah.
Do you know which one outweighed it?
Which one?
The eye. The eye outweighed all his good deeds.
Right.
Because
Why?
because the mercy, we are indebted to God when we was born. We can't go to God and say, oh God, and Allah
did
mentions
this
in the
and
Quran,
this.
because Allah, when He talks about hellfire, He says what you earned. Paradise is what is given. So for example, we enter, I don't know if you're Christian, but you know grace.
Yeah.
So for example, what that shows to us is this, and this is what happened by the way next. After that happened, God said, based on my justice, go to the hellfire. Because your eye, the blessing of your eye, there's no good deed you can do to repay me.
Yeah.
So as he was going to go to the hellfire, he said, oh God, please forgive me, enter me into paradise by your mercy. What we understand from this is the following. Doing good deeds we have to do
Yes.
because of who our Lord is. He deserves it.
Yes.
I have to. If He tells me to pray 24 hours a day, I have to because He deserves it, even though He doesn't ask me to.
Yeah.
But what that teaches us is that we enter paradise. In reality, the actual thing is by God's mercy.
Wow.
I think that answers your second question as well,
I really
because your
hope that
second question
many
was.
other Muslim brothers are listening to that.
Yeah.
Because a
That's
lot
what
of
it is.
Muslims, it seems like it's more about you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to enter into paradise.
You know-
But in fact, what you've just said,
You know what it is? You know what's your name?
read one.
Read one. You know what it is?
Mashallah is
A lot of
is the angel of the paradise, you know?
Oh, really?
The guardian
I
of
didn't know
paradise, yeah? Ridwan.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a nice name, yeah?
Really
Mashallah.
beautiful names. So the thing is here that a lot of Muslims, sadly, they don't understand the true essence. We have a lot of Muslims here, and look, we all have our shortcomings.
Yeah.
They don't understand the true essence. We have some people here, they have memorized Quran,
Yeah.
and you speak to them, it's like a machine, mashallah.
Yeah.
But you look at their character, how they treat another Muslim, you say, A'udhu billahi
Wow.
minash shaitanir, run for your life. The
Yeah.
point is this, the essence of Islam, once you understand, sometimes I think to myself, Muhammad, how is one arrogant? The hadith you mentioned about, there's going to be, we was talking about hadith,
Yeah.
that there will be a person of the actions of paradise. He's a person
Yeah.
that's known for righteousness.
Yeah.
And there is a handspan between him and paradise,
Right.
but there's an action that he does that was written for him, and he ends up in the hellfire.
Right.
How could you know this hadith and be arrogant? Wallahi, I don't know how a Muslim and arrogance can come together. It's impossible, because that shows you, and the first 3 people to enter the hellfire, Quran, memorize Quran, charity, jihad, for the sake of Allah. This should be, wallahi, if you hear this hadith, I don't know how one can be arrogant. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that some Muslims, sometimes they don't understand the true essence of Islam.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
think it's like, I'm like a robot, I'll memorize this, I'll
Yeah.
do this, I'll do that. There's going to be people who will stand in front of Allah with salah,
Yeah.
but they might end up in the hellfire because of the oppression that they did to others.
You know the main reason is what?
Okay.
Main reason is they have not been taught their creed, their essential creed. I'll tell you why. Because one of the things that we believe in as Muslims are called Iman. Iman is faith.
Faith, yeah,
But
yeah.
believing, right? And it can include the whole creed of the religion, right? Iman to us is 3 things.
What?
Statement, saying
Yes.
with the mouth,
Yes.
right? Believe, conviction in the heart,
Yes.
and actions.
Right.
So, if you don't have these 3 things
Yeah.
combined, you're missing a part of Iman. Meaning you're missing a part of your essential creed. So someone cannot just do the actions and not have them internally within his heart. Do you get the
Wow.
point? Why? Like,
No, I'm saying wow.
yeah. No, I'm not saying you're saying why. I'm
Yeah.
saying why.
Yeah, go on,
Not
go
you,
on,
don't
go
worry. So, you know the poet, he said something beautiful. He said, تعصي الإله وأنت تزعم حبه هذا لعمرك في القياس شنيع. You disobey the creator.
Yeah.
And you claiming to love the creator.
Yeah.
That's indeed a false analogy.
Right.
if your love for him was true, you would obey him. Because the one you love, you obey. Right?
Wow.
So, what's in the heart manifests on the limbs. So if you don't see the actions are there, that means there is a deficiency in the heart of that person of what he says. So if you don't see the actions actualize outside,
But I want
there's a
you to
deficiency
repeat
in the heart.
something.
Yes.
And this is what most Muslims here need to know. I'm not going against Muslims here. I'm saying your friend here, this brother just said something important. He said, love for the Almighty, love for Allah will be manifest in obedience. That's what you just said. And you, brother, you just said that the character is going to definitely play a part in anybody who's going to enter Jannah.
The Prophet said, I came for nothing but to perfect good character.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying to my brother a few moments ago.
Yeah.
A lot of these discussions here are centered around whether you're worshiping one or three.
Yeah.
And the spirit and the character that is revealed here many a time at Speaker's Corner is not the character of the Almighty.
I agree
It's
with
the
you.
character of the enemy
100%,
rather.
100%.
So what you're saying here is
I agree
most
with you.
people here need to hear because they're doing the things, but they're not having the right
But
character.
let's clarify something.
Okay, go on.
Let's clarify something for you. Sorry, you got the mic. Let me just clarify something for you. When we say character, we're not saying, for example, there's going to be someone who's a Trinitarian and he's got amazing manners.
Right.
He's going hell.
Okay.
Like I can't decide that, but what I'm saying is, if he dies that, we're not saying your manners is like, oh, he's no. What we're saying is,
We told you, remember that, sorry, to cut you the criteria to go to paradise.
Yes,
Remember?
yes.
It includes what he's saying. We said the criteria to go to paradise, you believe in Allah, you follow the messenger, right?
That's what I got that clear. I got that clear.
so let's make that clear, because this is the right.
Assalamu alaikum.
How are you doing? Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is here, what we're saying is that the what was I saying? I forgot.
It's not just your characters that put you in
Exactly.
paradise.
That
So
was
what you
clear
need to
from what he
understand,
said first.
what you need to
Yeah.
understand is this here, because sometimes we get emotionally invested. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the arguments here. Christians love. I love everywhere. But sometimes we look at the Muslims. They might be not all. They might be a bit rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Wherever the truth is, I follow that. I don't give someone amazing character. If he's telling me Trinity, brother, Trinity makes more sense. It goes against the rights of God.
Okay.
So, for example, your parents gave birth to you and brought you to this age.
Yeah.
Imagine you turn to your parents and say, "Parents, you did nothing for me. You see this tree? I thank you every day. Tree, thank you very much. You're the best ever."
Yeah.
What would your parents? How would your parents
Yeah,
feel?
they'll say that's crazy. Yeah.
So, the rights of God is higher than the rights of my parents.
Okay.
If God is the one who sustains you, who provides for you, who gave you your mom and dad,
Yeah.
the blasphemy, this is what blasphemy is. And people don't understand what shirk is. If we understood what shirk is, wallahi, it's worse than all sins in the world put together. Because what you're doing is, imagine, look around, let's ponder. Because Allah says ponder, look at the trees. Look at the sky, look at these clouds, yeah? Look at yourself, look at your eye, look at your limbs.